Hi, everyone, and out and around the world that are watching on YouTube. I'm Vicente Cruz, Oakland Greens Event and Fundraising Coordinator, and you are at the February monthly public business meeting. We have a light agenda again, mostly all discussion items. So as I said before, the recording won't be the quickest, but it still will be pretty quick. As really, it's other than the events, not a lot going on from my end. But we're going to review the agenda, don't need introductions, voter guide distribution, a bail bond misconduct that happened on the property here, talking about national polls. There was a study that came out, two different polls, but came out about how younger people are leaning as far as being progressive or more fascist. Events, movie night report back, Treasury Report, social media outreach, and then adjournment. Does anyone want to add anything? Hearing that, I think I covered everything. So the first one is voter guide distribution, and I'll kick that off as that I have just recently had surgery, so I won't start mine until next week and will not be walking, but the plan is to be out on Fruitvale or in front of Safeway on Fruitvale and just handing out voter guides. And then also possibly, because I'm going to pick them up from the You Move games, handing them out right there in front as people walk by as well. And yes, Orlando, please.
Yeah, I passed up my voter guides, but I had to get some. I didn't hit your territory, Vicente. So I left MacArthur and put it, all that by Southern Cafe. I left that alone. I didn't touch your area.
Okay, because I will also still will put them at the library and at there's the butcher shop, beauty salon, and then the laundromats. Let us put it there as well.
And I apologize. One thing I apologize, Greg. I had to be working a double shift, so yeah. It wasn't in the rain. But I'm gonna come get another box of voter guides. I also been looking at the last candidate form that's coming up. So I'll be putting the green voter guides in the chat when it comes to Nate, Mallory, and Jennifer on the 25th.
Okay.
I'll be zooming it too.
I did have some, actually, I guess this could be under voter guide or distribution. Someone who is a registered green called and had voter guide questions that I was able to answer, and they ended up actually calling twice. One really extensive conversation, and then one shorter conversation. She was just, had questions, not about process, just about ballot measures, bonds versus taxes, and it was a really good interaction. I felt like it was, if anything in the outreach forum is that she'll go out and say, oh, well, that when I wanted to get in touch with someone, they were very knowledgeable and they helped, so I think that does the party well. Yeah. And yeah, and then like I said, the other plan is to just stand out in front of businesses and hand out, where people are walking, maybe even on the Saturday too, when because they're still out there. Now it's about ceasefire, of course, every Saturday, along with the Black Lives Matter and everything too. And yes, you're handing it. Go ahead, Orlando. And I think, there's only 3 of us. I don't think you have to raise your hand. You can just say it, and I know, no, that exactly. If we had 6 or so, but anyway, go ahead, please.
Igor Bay Life Radio, he had it on his radio station, and they had this group called the Unstoppables, I believe, and they had the voter guides, so they were looking for questions on the Bay Life Radio, and they used the voter guides as one of their formats. So that was great promotion also too.
I saw the one too. I didn't see the voter guide, but I saw that because they were also on IG Live as well. I think it falls under social media. Do you have like update? How has the distribution been going, Greg?
Oh, it's been going fairly well. Steady distribution. A lot of guides have been going out from the game store. People have been going to the game store to pick them up more so than getting them from Berkeley. which is fine. And if we keep doing it, keep getting them out there, I think we'll be okay. I mean, we still got, I don't know, well, we just Laura Wells just dropped off 3 boxes to the game store, and we have another 3 boxes here in Berkeley. But I think if we just, keep a steady pace, we can get them all out.
Especially these last couple of weeks too. I know it's gonna be, people gonna be more curious, even though they're getting a lot of mail. So a lot of people's not gonna even search through a lot of the mail. But I know those that's registered green, families and friends, they liked it. And to see our name on the ballot, that was a real good push for us, especially during this election time.
And how is it so far too compared to other years? Do you say that it's like the same, down a little bit? Because I guess this would really be the first big distribution since the pandemic, right?
No,
Okay.
2022, we did our voter guides. And I don't think it's been too much different than previous years. I think it's been roughly about the same. So, we'll just keep on pace and we should be able to do it.
Cool. Anything else on voter guides? Seeing none. Okay, so the next one on there is about a bail bond misconduct. So in my complex, and this has happened 3 times. One of my neighbor's children fraudulently, but uses their address when they are bailing themselves out of jail, but then they skip bail. And what ends up happening is they come and harass this, this elderly couple, and they're definitely not following any of the person's civil liberties whatsoever. Because again, one, they're just bail bondsmen, they're not cops. The actual procedure is it would be like a civil standby. They would have to have like a Contra Costa County sheriff come, and then they could do, come in without, because we don't have a buzzer. Like I'm in the hood, right? We don't have a buzzer on our complex. So unless someone lets them in or they climb over where the dumpsters are, they have no access. And with no access, there wasn't. And apparently they were going to use a ladder and try to climb into their window. Just straight up breaking and entering. And what they did, they ended up gaining access. And then first trying to get in through a window that wasn't even the unit. And when I was going out, as they had just gained access to walk my dog, I asked them, I was like, and the address on the warrant, right, is our actual address on the complex. And he's like, yeah, why do you ask? I was like, because statistically, very often you get it wrong. And in this instance, they started to get it wrong. They were going into the wrong window. Luckily, they stopped, and then they ended up picking the locks on the door. And it was only the elderly woman who was in the home who was sleeping. And they come into the house or in the center of the living room screaming and yelling and, come out, and then went through all of their things and was, basically interrogating them for someone who hasn't been, and I've been in this this will be my 9th year, and I haven't seen, since they graduated high school, I've not seen them. Like they were removed because of this, right? So anyway, so I gave them information on, there's actually a couple of lives on our Instagram, on Oakland Greens Instagram channel. I was broadcasting. I gave them numbers of lawyers and legal aid, and of course, Cop Watch in Berkeley as well, and told them that they should really follow up on that. And I should also call the bail bondsman and go, look, that they're using this address fraudulently. You're stressing out my wife. And, there is the things too, again, going in the wrong place. And you come in my house, that might be a problem. That is very, very possible to be a problem,
Nikki needs to take up this too, because if it's a county issue, those who are locked up are in the county, I mean, Nikki should have some leverage to, protect that area from a county board perspective, say, hey, y'all coming into the city area and y'all doing these things that's unprotocol. And like you say, a rare people came out there and you thinking they trying to rob you and pull your gun out or something,
Absolutely,
Or they
absolutely.
come knocking on your door, you don't know who they are, and it's an unsafe situation. I agree with you.
And as I mentioned in the past, which actually we'll probably talk about tomorrow at It's Your Move Games, shameless plug for the hybrid event for the town hall or for the discussion group at the town hall. But being that too is because it's gotten worse since the pandemic.
Mm.
So, and we are having some issues directly in our neighborhood within the complexes and things. So yeah, no, they could come in and someone could definitely pull a weapon and they would be in fully right to defend themselves because again, they're not following correct procedure and how that works and stuff too. So
And like I said, and going through the window, the proper protocol is to call property manager can
that
go
too, they never called, yes.
talk to the tenant, and the tenant say, hi, baby, Jerry.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they could have called the tenant, and then the tenant could have called the property manager or the
they
person.
would have opened the door, they would have knocked on the door, they should have been able to read the warrant, and then once they saw, it was like, well, my son hasn't lived here since they were in high school. I didn't co-sign on the bail. He's using a fraudulent address. No, you cannot come into my home. He's not here. He hasn't been here in 8 years, at least.
Or did they get some of that Gavin Newsom money? They trying to run up the numbers.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. Well, and also there's a whole thing too where those agents for bail bondsmen, just like cops too, right, are people who just have a complete, almost like a fetish for going in and wanting to play fucking soldier, urban warfare shit, right? And they live for it. Was that one from a few years back in San Francisco where that rookie, he was like, almost like he was on something. And I remember he was rocking and licking his tongue out. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Right? That San Francisco PD. And I think he was a rookie, but he looked like he was on something. And he was like foaming at the mouth to get at the fucking protest. I was like, whoa, man, just crazy. And of course, back days in the streets, I remember those cops too, where they've been on duty for 19 hours and they're just super pissed and they're just taking it out on people who were, fucking drumming in the middle of 14th Ave.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was the fun thing too. And I guess that goes under outreach and social media too, where again, where the Oakland Greens Instagram channel, I use that to broadcast and talk about it. So if you want to, you can see it. Anything else? Not seeing none. The next discussion item, the national polls. So there were two polls, one done by Gallup and one done by this change research.org. And so first, my problem was too, they only did like 1,300 people in some areas. I'm like, okay, that's not a huge sampling of the population. I don't know how you can come up with it. But anyway, the statistics that they ended up with is that younger men are starting to lean, which again, also was like, wow, okay, Captain Obvious. But about how many is what my question would be because of this small sample size. But young men are leaning more towards like the fascist side, Trump and all this stuff, angry, and you're taking away my manhood, and I want to be like a man, be a man, whatever the fuck that means. And then younger women are becoming more liberal. Right. But again, my thing too. So I always thought that might be something to have for next year's discussions too about, when we're trying to sample things. I mean, everybody knows it, but going deeper into the fact that you can make a statistic however you want it, depending on, who you're sampling, right? And I think it also goes into the scientific principle too. Once you start an experiment, you automatically are going to get skewed reverse results because you're observing it, right? Through your own filters and stuff. So, but yeah, so that was like something interesting. And, what do you all think of statistics and polls and all that?
I agree. I think if you get somebody like Taylor Swift, whatever she represents, you can persuade a lot of people to, believe in that ideology or whatever they think. So I think that the statistics is not grassroots. I'd rather have a grassroots statistic hand poll, door by door, knock on the door, really get into people's faces and be like, how do you really feel? But no, I mean, no disrespect to Taylor Swift, but just using that as an example, they use those type of statistics, and people use an internet statistic with an AI statistic right around it, and it's really not reaching the people that the statistics are really coming from. So I agree with you. You need to do an Oakland Greens statistics and Canvas
Uh,
9462 or something.
you're talking about some of these national polls, and I think some of the bigger polling outfits, like I think you mentioned Gallup or something. I mean, they have a long history of doing polls and reputation, and I would suspect that they probably do it in a way that's fairly even-handed because since they're a major polling firm, that they're under the public spotlight, and so you got these academics that keep track of this stuff, and I would suspect that if they saw that a major polling company was doing anything strange or getting strange results, they would call them out. So if it's a major firm, I would probably guess that they're probably doing it in a fairly legitimate way. But yeah, I mean, there are ways certainly to skew the results. So if you got some other, like I know a lot of candidates will commission a poll, and if they don't pick a good firm, or if they intentionally want to skew it, they can tell the company to, hey, can you skew it towards me? So they have,
Ask the question this
they do
way.
that intentionally, so they'll release a poll and says, hey, I'm number one now, I just pulled the front. So yeah, I would not trust these candidate polls or smaller outfits, but if it's a general national poll, probably it's going to be okay.
Right. Well, I don't think it's a matter of whether they do it legitimately. I think it's a question of, well, one, they're only doing it for these particular two were registered voters, and it was just of the two-party system.
Yeah.
And then the other one was that they both did it for like under 2,000 people in a country of 350 million. That just doesn't even seem like
Well, but
a good sample.
the number you mentioned there, what is it, 1,200 or 1,500? That seems to be a fairly standard amount. I think
Well, then that, I think
companies
that's wrong.
these companies that have been doing this and have a reputation, they have a way of statistically picking the people they interview to represent the whoever they're surveying. You said young people, right? Younger people, okay, are registered voters. So they have a way of doing a sampling that can represent that, and that's why they only need to interview or check with 1,200 or 1,500 people, because they've over the years developed this. It always has a what do they call it? An error.
Margin of error.
Yeah, yeah. So so that they mathematically figured out how accurate their sample is. So within a certain amount, they'll say, according to the mathematics of this, within whatever percentages it's supposed to be. So I think that because they're a larger company, and the academics, the professors that would check this stuff out, that they say, yeah, according to the mathematics, they're doing it correctly. They only need to sample 1,200 people because they do it all.
Well, definitely we're going to be doing this in the 2025 season, because on that premise, I question their math. I question their equation altogether, that you can't do that because, and the way I do that, my algorithm used is the fact that the Oakland Greens have done their own studies locally, right?
Yeah.
like literal logo on the corner, having a beer with
Yeah.
fucking people that no one else would fucking talk to, right? Because at the time, especially when I was at Havens Court, right, those people are my neighbors.
Yeah.
Those are the people that live right next door. And no matter what they were doing to get by, whatever their hustle and flow was, these were my neighbors. And I would get out there and I'm not going to change. Of course, right? They'd see the car and they'd know that I had lots to say. But when we were out there talking to all of those people, young and old, you know, it gave a completely different vision of what they felt was problems within the system. So because of that and those discussions, I go, well, again, I question their fucking algorithm. I question their equation on how they think that only 1,200 people in such a large country, and taking into account that psychology studies too, most people, or sorry, maybe not most, but a lot of the people are not going to be completely honest when you call them for those polls. So
Yeah.
still need a larger size as well. But see, this is the discussion we'll have I mean, it doesn't matter now. Again, we don't have anything other than the report back, anything else of any action items or anything. Everything else is the same, going well as far as social media and stuff too. I mean, there's things I want to change. Anyway, um, that's what I think as far as what we would have in the discussion and talking, and hopefully we get more people to come out and have those discussions as well. Anything else on this item? That was a good one. Hearing none, moving on. So we had our first movie night. We already did a report back for the first discussion group, which was amazing. Same thing with movie night. Already on our first movie night, we were $52 from breaking even. And as a person who does events for a living and all that, that actually is amazing that we got that far. I do like to and want to keep the format of making people register too, because that helps balance that budget items and stuff too. And I guess it can fall under here too, and well, Treasury is right after it too, because I still want to try and be able to raise money where again, where we would have to hire an accountant, right? We need to make more than $5,000 in one calendar year. We haven't done that yet. About halfway. And I also want to do, I guess it falls into one, like more outreach. I really want to try and get more people involved and hopefully can take it over. And that's more voter guide distribution, just getting more people involved in the process. And it's just going slower because I just have other priorities that's going on in my life. But the movie night was great and got great feedback. There was people that I had never been there before, and then people who were coming back from 3 and 4 years ago. And the movie itself was really, really good. Discussion went quick at the end, and then we also started a little bit late. I will be, stricter on that. And then I see your hand too. The only thing is that we still will have, we're having a internet. The router's too far away.
Hmm.
So I have to somehow go down there and get Chris to call their company and go, hey, we need another one, or what does it take to get another one so that we can put it closer to the stage? Or maybe they moved it already. Actually, we'll find out tomorrow. And actually, Orlando's hand first and then Greg.
Yeah.
Okay, Greg, you can go. I'll go after you.
Well, yeah, I was just going to comment on what you said. There's something called an extender. So, if they can't get it done in time, they might just give you information about getting an extender. I don't know, it's like $25 or $30, and they can just get one and put it there, I think. So, a techie person would know about how to do it.
Okay. And what were you gonna say, Orlando?
I was gonna say that I believe the movie night with the weather and everything, I believe when March come, I believe the more people is gonna come out with Easter's coming up, Mother's Day, 420. I believe movie night is gonna be sold out before the summer.
Let me tell you that there's 3 people coming down to Itchy Move Games tomorrow, and then there's 2 online. And the movie's already got 8.
Hmm.
Which that's going to be another good movie as well. And actually, the Phil Donahue one doesn't have anyone, and then the movie for March doesn't have anything sold, but the April movie has stuff sold. Weird. And Israel, the March discussion has 5 at the moment. Yeah. Interesting on that. So we'll see, like, next, this month is Sausage Party, which is it's a really vulgar movie. So, and it's not, for people, the 20 that are watching, it's not for children. You can bring your children, but you would have to have a huge, huge discussion with them after. I actually encourage that discussion, but that is, the Oakland Greens disclaimer. This is not a family friendly movie, however. Anything else? Movies? We kind of went into everything. Everything is the same. 14 in checking, 2 in savings, 196 on PayPal, 200 in the BMO. Social media, as I said, we did the broadcast with the 2, and then sometimes I have been putting reels up as well, and then actually sharing Orlando's posts and stuff as running for a county council and all those things too. Yeah, and the social media and website and everything, has still, carried us, and definitely IG and all that stuff too. Which then also ties into outreach. I actually talked with Chris to Move Games about trying to set up a dinner with Oakland Tech's theater department, see about having a student come down, and we can kind of give them some job experience setting up, when we're all, putting it together, at least on the techie side, that they work with my brother, running the cable and all that stuff too. And then maybe even trying to, hopefully would be something I want to do before the end of the year, is going to other schools and getting, trying to stress the participation, and, how we have done, before. So, and hopefully, if everything works out correctly, I'll be doing that. And then last is, I guess, I have been to also, sorry, to, ceasefire. Us too, with drive-bys and things too for outreach. I don't have any announcements though. Does anyone have any announcements?
Yeah, there's another ceasefire thing in San Francisco tomorrow. I think it's at Civic Center at 12 noon or something.
Right, yeah, but it's almost every day now.
Yeah.
And I think they may be getting close, because, even I think the current administration is just getting sick of it. Especially going into Rafa, that's like, I don't, oh God. Well, we're gonna have this discussion, shameless plug, at our, one of our discussion groups, and you can go and get all of those at oaklandgreens.org events. And I move adjourn. That was the February public business meeting. I'm Vicente Cruz, Oakland Greens Event and Fundraising Coordinator, and we will see everyone at movie night. Peace out, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.